When people say something's impossible, everything's been done, that just means everything's not been done. They just don't know.
They say if we build it, they will come. It's nice to have the ability to start small and to grow as the demand requires. Now we're able to build in a way that allows us to scale if what we've built is popular.
We are moving into AI-driven era where AI takes care of higher order activities.
Today's tools are allowing people to execute if they have the grit and determination.
People build what they can imagine.
Please welcome to the stage Alison Kay, Vice President, UK and Ireland, Amazon Web Services.
Hello, London, and welcome to the AWS London Summit 2025. This is my first London Summit, and I am so excited to be here with you all today, with over 20,000 AWS friends. Wow, that's amazing! It's been such an incredible atmosphere already, and I want to know who here today is looking forward to the most incredible day ahead. Standing here in London feels incredibly meaningful, not only because it's my home city and the place I've chosen to call home, but it's a city known globally for its vibrant tech sector, and a city that has for centuries stood at the heart of innovation. It's where Charles Babbage developed plans for that is now widely known to be the first computer. It's where Ada Lovelace, a pioneer for women in technology, she wrote the first computer program. And it's where Alan Turing began his theoretical work. And today, here in 2025, it's where we're embarking on one of the biggest revolutions in technology. And just like the pioneers before us, I believe that we now stand at our own historic moment, something I find hugely exciting. Just 12 months ago, we talked about the extraordinary potential of generative AI, and today we are no longer just talking about the potential, but we are witnessing real breakthroughs. What was once only probable is now possible. Take, for example, the life science industry. One sector absolutely witnessing a revolution in breakthrough treatments. Sunrise Analytics, they're using GenAI to help accelerate disease research, and they are having a remarkable impact. Research timelines have been reduced by 50%, error rates have dropped by 80%, and each experiment is saving over $20,000 in cost. That is just amazing. And agriculture, another sector that is absolutely ripe for breakthrough. With world population expected to reach 8.5 billion by 2030, we need to tackle some of the biggest challenges to our food system. Phytoform, a UK startup is doing just that. They're using AI to accelerate crop development using fewer resources, cutting waste, and improving food security at scale. And right here in London, combating the effects of climate change are those amazing scientists at the National History Museum. They are using an AWS-powered data ecosystem to unlock the full potential of their leading biodiversity research. And these are just a few examples of how technology can really help to tackle some of the most enduring challenges facing our planet today. And we've only just scratched the surface. In fact, new research which we're announcing here today reveals that in the last year, at least one UK business adopted AI every single minute. That is just a phenomenal statistic. It's bigger than the introduction of the landline, bigger than the introduction of the mobile phone and of the internet. And we are so excited to be part of it. Today, more than half of UK businesses are using AI, and nearly all of them are reporting an increase in revenue as a result of it. It's clear that here in the UK, the next few years could be amongst the most pivotal in our digital and economic future. But we need to ensure that our digital infrastructure meets this growing demand. And that's why we've announced plans to invest £8 billion in data centres here in the UK. This investment is estimated to support 14,000 jobs per year and contributes £14 billion to the UK economy by 2028. This is part of our long-term commitment to supporting growth and productivity across the country. Now, according to the research, 1 in 3 businesses say that they lack the digital skills, which is a major obstacle to the adoption of AI. And that is why I am so excited to say today that in order to help address this, we are launching the AWS Skills to Jobs Tech Alliance here in the UK. By 2030, our aim is to provide 100,000 UK students with the skills-based pathways in AI, cybersecurity, and in big data. And we're thrilled to be joined on this quest by organisations like Accenture, Deloitte, government bodies, and higher education institutions, so that together we are offering these students every opportunity to thrive in today's digital economy. And who knows, we might just give the next Charles Babbage, the next Ada Lovelace, and the next Alan Turing the biggest opportunity to thrive in today's digital world. So, we have big ambitions, just like all of you. But before you dive into today, I'd just like to take a moment to thank all our sponsors at all levels who have made this summit possible. Thank you for being here today with us, and thank you for partnering with us. I am so proud to be a partner with you. Today isn't just about sharing knowledge, it's about pushing conventional boundaries. In a world where change isn't just constant, but it's actually exponential, the organisations that will thrive are going to be those that are bold enough to reimagine what is possible. And everybody in this room represents someone who is not just witnessing the next digital revolution, but is actively shaping it. The conversations you will participate in today, the connections you will make, the ideas that you will spark, these are the building blocks of tomorrow's innovations. Enjoy it all. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to the stage our Vice President of Compute Services, Dave Brown.
Thank you, Alison. Wow, it's great to be here. It's great to be back in London, and it's great to be at the London AWS Summit 2025. What if you could build anything you can imagine? To me, one of the best parts about being a builder is that you get to imagine things that seem impossible. And then you get to build them and make them real. At AWS, we give you the building blocks so that you can build anything that you can imagine. And with them, we've seen you all build remarkable things, innovating how we heal people and heal the planet, transforming finance and elevating fandoms, and even helping the blind see. These are wildly different inventions that have been made possible by the building blocks that we've given you, because building blocks give you the freedom to innovate and scale. And this idea of building blocks is fundamental to how we think about inventing at AWS. We build services that do a job really, really well, and then we make it possible for all of you to combine them together. But there are some things that are so fundamental that they have to be part of everything that you do. And for us, one of those is security. Our security starts at the silicon and makes its way all up the stack. And it ensures that no one, not even us, can access your data while it's in our data centers. Now, once you have that secure foundation, what comes next is scale. And that starts with the AWS global backbone. AWS has the largest private network in the world, with more than 6 million kilometers of fiber optic cabling, connecting all of our regions, availability zones, and our edge locations. And each year, we continue to grow and add capacity. In fact, just in the last year, we increased the network capacity by more than 80% to support our low latency data transfer, meet capacity needs, and to power all of the building blocks that we're going to be talking about in the talk today. Which brings us to our first building block, compute. Today, you can get as much compute as you need almost instantly. And we have a wide variety of compute options, from virtual servers to containers and functions, that can support your workloads no matter how diverse they may be or where you need to run them. Just take EC2. When I joined EC2, we had one instance. We didn't even give it a name. And today, EC2 has over 850 instance types, enabling you to access the ideal compute for any workload. Even workloads that were once considered impossible to run in the cloud, such as workloads that demand incredible compute power, like scientific modeling, video transcoding, and of course, machine learning. Or mission-critical enterprise workloads supporting large in-memory databases, now up to 32 terabytes of RAM, and complex analytics. When we first launched AWS Outposts in 2019, for customer workloads that needed to stay on premises, typically for low latency or data residency or low latency and local processing needs, it's been incredible to see how customers have been using Outposts across many different use cases. From multiplayer games, mission-critical healthcare applications, manufacturing control systems, and even payment processing systems. And I'm thrilled to share that just yesterday, we launched the second generation of AWS Outpost racks, which deliver groundbreaking innovations at the edge of the cloud. Now customers are able to take advantage of all of the latest x86-powered EC2 instances right in your own data center. And mission-critical systems, like financial exchange trading platforms and 5G core networks, have some of the most stringent performance requirements. And to meet the needs of these latency-sensitive and high-throughput systems, we've introduced a new category of EC2 instances on AWS Outposts. These instances accelerate networking. They're called accelerated networking instances, and they feature specialized networking accelerator cards that are capable of delivering bare metal-like network performance. And soon, we'll add support for GPU-based instances, enabling high-performance inference at the edge using AWS Outposts. Well, with the rise of generative AI, accelerated computing instances used for training and running inference on these AI models have exploded in popularity. AWS is by far the best place to run GPU workloads. In fact, we've had a 14-year partnership with NVIDIA, and we continue to innovate together with them, adding new NVIDIA-based instances to power your workloads, such as the new P6 family of instances that feature NVIDIA's latest Blackwell GPUs, including those GB200 superchips, which we'll have available very soon on AWS. In fact, when NVIDIA looked for where they would run their own large language generative AI cluster, Project Sabre, as you saw in the video, they too chose AWS. But you don't need to run supermassive workloads to benefit from accelerated compute instances. Maybe you just need a few GPUs, for instance, to run an experiment, or maybe to deliver a critical project. Well, EC2 capacity blocks provides instant and predictable access to these highly demanded accelerated instances that feature NVIDIA GPUs, which can be perfect for short-term training and fine-tuning workloads. So with the flexibility to reserve a GPU when and where you need it, capacity blocks let you run experiments, prototypes, and handle temporary demand surges without those long-term commitments or having any idle resources. Give it a try. But innovation is rarely a straight line. You need to build and iterate and push the limits for what it means to scale as you're on your journey to build anything. And one place that we've rarely pushed those limits is when we created Graviton. Graviton was our first custom CPU. And today we're on our 4th generation of the chip. And it's our most powerful chip yet. In fact, it's up to 45% faster than Graviton 3 for large Java applications, and uses up to 60% less energy consumption for the same price performance as comparable x86 EC2 instances. And that amazing performance and sustainability of Graviton is why over the last 2 years, we've landed more Graviton processors in our data centers than all other chip types combined. And creating Graviton gave us the momentum to tackle an even bigger challenge, such as building purpose-built AI chips called Inferentia and Trainium. Each of these chips has been designed with the same principles in mind: exceptional performance at significantly lower cost. And today, our Trainium 2-based instances offer the best price performance for generative AI and deep learning on AWS. They're up to 4 times faster and 3 times more energy efficient than comparable Trainium 1 instances, which has been a breakthrough that's already being felt and transforming in the economics of AI. And some of the world's largest model providers are using Trainium 2 to dramatically cut their training costs. And one of those is Anthropic. Millions of people today, including me, rely on Anthropic's Claude model for their work. And together, AWS and Anthropic are advancing the future of generative AI. For example, with Project Rainier, which is a new compute cluster that will power the research and next generation of scaling at Anthropic, this cluster will feature hundreds of thousands of Trainium 2 processing chips and deliver hundreds of exaflops, which is over 5 times the amount of capacity of the previous cluster used by Anthropic. And for builders using Claude, it means that it'll be more intelligent, lower prices, and faster speeds. But to bring big ideas to life, you require multiple building blocks to come together, which brings us to our next one: storage. Now, back in the early days of Amazon, when teams needed storage, they would build it themselves. Now, every new project would have months or years where we'd be lost building and configuring and manage undifferentiated storage solutions. Now, I'm sure the developers had a lot of fun, but we knew that we needed a solution where we could store anything and all of the services could utilize. And we realized that our customers needed it too. We realized that we needed storage for the internet. And that's when S3 was born. Today, there are more than 400 trillion objects in S3, which hold data that can be used all across AWS. For instance, in knowledge bases with Amazon Bedrock, business dashboards in Amazon QuickSight, or high-performance data analytics with Amazon Redshift. And storage has been evolving for the almost 2 decades that S3 has been in existence, because we've been continuously shaping S3 to follow how you want to use your data. As an example, a pattern that we've seen emerging over the last few years are thousands of customers that are rapidly adopting one of the open table formats called Apache Iceberg. Apache Iceberg is an open source, high-performance table format for large analytical data sets, which can be made up of thousands or even millions of smaller files, typically stored in Parquet. And there are exabytes of Parquet stored in Amazon S3 today. And Iceberg extends Parquet to allow you to build a fully featured table data structure that supports mutations, snapshots, and schema evolution. But what makes this all possible is the use of metadata. Under the hood, Iceberg uses a hierarchy of metadata and manifests and manages the data snapshots and table updates. But the challenge with Iceberg is that as you scale and you increase the management overhead, and there's maintenance tasks, like you have to compact files and remove orphans, and all that needs to be done to make sure that Iceberg keeps running efficiently. But imagine if it just worked without all that extra overhead. Well, within Amazon S3, it does. At the end of last year, we added a new table and bucket type to S3 to support Iceberg, which enables you to quickly manage and query data in Iceberg without any of that manual overhead. Now you can do more with your data, such as trend analysis using Iceberg time travel queries, or create inversion table pipelines for generative AI applications. And what we're doing with S3 is to make structured and tabular data the same kind of first-class storage primitive that you've grown to love with S3 objects. And as they say, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Metadata is extremely powerful. And a large part of Iceberg's widespread adoption has been how seamlessly it allows metadata to be integrated with your objects. And today, many organizations manage their own DIY metadata stores, and these are often expensive and complicated. They require you to build lists of objects in storage, and then you have to create and manage event processing pipelines to ensure that those metadata are kept up to date. You have to store the metadata in some form of database. And you have to develop a code to make sure that metadata is synced with the objects as they added and created. Now let's take a quick look at why metadata is so important. Here's an example of a lovely day in London, and a day with terrible weather, and your average Tuesday. Transparency into the data is crucial, not just for the British weather classification system, but also for the convergence of data, analytics, and AI. And what if we could bring that same metadata and automation that has made Iceberg so powerful to every object in S3? Well, you guessed it, we did. So last year, we introduced S3 metadata, enabling the automatic creation of metadata such as object size, storage class, encryption status, which can easily be queried with SQL. And you can also add your own object tags to make it easy to query the exact data that you need. Analytics and AI workloads are increasingly converging around the same data and workflows. But teams often have to work across different tools, environments, and interfaces, and slows down collaboration and delays insights. So with the next generation of Amazon SageMaker, we've created a unified experience that brings your data, analytics, and AI development together in one single place. It combines the best purpose-driven analytics services with our widely adopted SageMaker service. The work that once required you to move between multiple tools and interfaces can now be done in a single, unified studio. And one of the things that makes this next generation of SageMaker so powerful is that it's built on a lakehouse data architecture that is fully compatible with Apache Iceberg, enabling data to flow seamlessly across different users and tools. And any data within this lakehouse can be governed by a built-in SageMaker catalog that provides end-to-end governance so that data and AI teams can collaborate and share data, models, generative AI assets across the projects with trust and transparency. And we'll continue to add more capabilities to unify your data and workflows and accelerate this collaboration. We're just getting started. And now, I'd like to welcome Rochelle Palmer from Untold Stories, who has been using AWS building blocks to deliver cutting-edge visual effects for the entertainment industry. Welcome, Rochelle.
What does it take to create these moments that capture the essence of our culture, that millions of people around the world watch and enjoy? I can tell you, it takes human creativity and cutting-edge technology to tell these compelling stories. We saw Billie Eilish captivating millions in a live performance for Amazon Music. There was an Oasis promo which helped generate perhaps too much demand for tickets last year. Big, blockbuster movies like Mission Impossible and Sonic the Hedgehog, and TV moments from The Crown and Ted Lasso. There were also clips from no less than 5 Super Bowl spots that we worked on ahead of this year's game. I'm Rochelle Palmer. I'm an entrepreneur, my heart is in the arts, and I'm inspired by the intersection of creativity and technology. Our incredible team of producers, creatives, and visual effects artists worked on all of the content that you've just seen. I'm here to tell you our story, how what was once a startup dream became over 500 creatives working worldwide on this bold, ambitious, premium content in a way that had never been done before. Untold Studios is the world's first fully cloud-based studio. It was a strategic decision we made in 2018 when we opened our doors. Why? From the very beginning, we wanted to work with exceptional creatives wherever they were located and provide them with our tools and workflows, unrestricted by geography or infrastructure. We chose to partner with AWS because they provided us with the building blocks of scalability, flexibility, and global reach, which aligns perfectly with our vision. Together, we have gone on to redefine how a creative studio operates. Now, what we do requires incredibly complex computing capability. And AWS has helped us rise to the creative challenges that we have faced in the last 7 years. For one example, just 6 weeks after we opened our doors, we were invited to work on an episode of The Crown. It involved recreating the tragic Aberfan disaster, where a coal tip slipped into the Welsh village of Aberfan, causing 144 deaths. This story had never been brought to screens before. We were custodians of the story. We had a responsibility to tell this story sensitively and authentically for TV. As well as being an incredibly sensitive task, it required very complex visual effects simulations, requiring thousands of render machines, more render capacity than anyone had in London at that time. We were able to fulfill this and bring this story to screens thanks to the capacity in AWS. Just a couple of years later, COVID happened. And while other legacy creative studios with on-prem technology solutions were struggling to figure out their pipelines, we were already working remotely, in the cloud. We just went home and carried on. and we doubled in size very quickly. We have gone on to build bespoke cloud-based tools, like real-time streaming solutions that allow our clients to review work instantly in studios, and data replication for our creative assets and software to be mirrored across multiple AWS centers worldwide. I mentioned at the start, we worked on this year's Super Bowl. Now, this was momentous for us because we needed to deliver not just one huge visual effects commercial before the game on the Sunday, but 5, and deliver them all simultaneously. Now, none of these projects were simple in any way. We turned the singer Seal into a seal for Mountain Dew. We made mustaches fly for Pringles. We put a gang of sloths into an office setting for Cause. We took the Muppets on holiday for Booking.com. And we turned Kieran Culkin into a talking beluga whale giving out financial advice for NerdWallet. Here is just some of the tech required to make this happen. Our work was watched by an average of 127 million viewers that night, the largest Super Bowl audience of all time. Now, it's a privilege for me to show you some behind the scenes of how our incredible artists and creatives bring this content to life. I'd like to conclude by discussing GenAI. Our vision is crystal clear. We are turning visual AI from a mere toy into a powerful tool. Our collaborations with renowned directors and artists have taught us one crucial lesson. Precise creative control is non-negotiable. And we are integrating our AI tools within our AWS ecosystem and leveraging Amazon Bedrock and other AI tools to supercharge creative output and to deliver content more efficiently than has ever been done before. We're not just embracing this shift, we are leading with it within our slice of the industry. Now, Untold Studios' original vision quickly became a reality. We have pushed creative and technology boundaries further than had ever been done before. And we have used technology to tell stories and to continue to work on the stories that are still yet to be told. And AWS went from being a supplier of services to a true partner, to the maker of the possible, part of our DNA. The future of content creation is so bright, and we are going after it together. Thank you.
Thanks, Rochelle. What an incredible story, and so much fun to be working with them. Well, this brings us to our last building block that we're going to be talking about today, inference. And over the last few years, we've seen generative AI evolve from simple image and text generation to multimodal models that can think and reason through problems. And we believe that the problems that generative AI can help solve will make inference part of every application, as fundamental as compute and storage are today. And that's why we built Amazon Bedrock, to be the easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications on AWS. And it's also why we continue to expand Bedrock's availability all around the world. So, what does it take to build a generative AI application that works well today and into the future? There are a few things. First, it's all about model choice. And the world of foundation models moves incredibly quickly, faster than anything we've seen before, with more capable, cost-effective, and faster models coming out every single week. And we know that there's not one model that's best for every use case. And that's why within Bedrock, we offer a broad choice of models that are fully managed across a variety of leading providers. And they help you make sure that you can find the best model or models for your use case, without the need to manage the scale and infrastructure, so that you're free to build and experiment with the latest models without compromising on security or performance. And one of the sets of models that we have in Amazon Bedrock today is Amazon Nova. This is our family, our own family of foundation models, specifically designed to offer options across quality, speed, and cost. Today, there's 7 different Nova models spanning understanding and reasoning, image and video generation, and our newest one, just launched a few weeks ago, speech-to-speech synthesis. And these enable you to find the best model that's suited for your job. And next, you need the ability to cost optimize and customize, the model. Incorporating data in your model and in your generative AI responses, it has to be relevant to your customers, and one of the most important steps in making sure that you get the full value out of AI. And one of the most common ways to do this is through retrieval augmented generation, or more commonly known as RAG. RAG combines the power of large language models with the accuracy of your own content. And while RAG is powerful, it was originally designed for unstructured data. The problem is, businesses were not. Data comes in every variety, and builders need generative AI to work with all of their data accurately. And Bedrock knowledge bases have always supported unstructured data. And now we've expanded this so every data type is just as easy to use within Amazon Bedrock. Today, Bedrock supports fully managed end-to-end RAG so that you can securely connect your models to your data and deliver more relevant, accurate, and explainable responses to your customers. Next, trust and safety is paramount to any generative AI application. And here, Bedrock Guardrails helps you block harmful or unwanted inputs and outputs for your generative AI applications. For example, if you had to build an application to process insurance claims, you can use guardrails to help block any outputs from the app, such as certain topics or words or harmful content, and to help make sure that the response is aligned with the brand and values of your organization. Robin AI, a UK-based startup, has shown us how generative AI through Bedrock can be used in highly regulated industries, together with the effective use of guardrails. And they fine-tuned a large language model by injecting proprietary legal knowledge to make it more scalable and accurate, and then used model distillation to increase performance while reducing the costs and improving latency. And their AI-powered legal assistant can analyze contracts, suggest edits, and has reduced review time by up to 82%. Just amazing. And one of the biggest things hindering AI or GenAI adoption today within the enterprise is still the risk of hallucinations. Now, automated reasoning can help address this. Automated reasoning uses mathematical models and proofs and formal methods to reason about models and systems at a speed that would otherwise not be possible with manual testing. At AWS, we've been using automated reasoning now for years, from everything from cryptographic verification to testing of the foundational logic of our AWS services. And as generative AI became more popular and prevalent, we found that the same mathematical methods could be used to drive down the uncertainty of generative AI responses. And so we brought automated reasoning to Bedrock Guardrails. So Amazon Bedrock Guardrails automated reasoning checks is the first and only generative AI safeguard that helps you prevent factual errors due to hallucinations and make sure that they're logically accurate and verify the reasoning that explains why each of the generative AI responses is correct. Let's take a look at how it works. So as the model responds to prompts, automated reasoning checks analyze the content, and validate it against the policies that you've configured. The checks identify inconsistencies with the automated reasoning policy and explain what it thinks is wrong about the answer. And Bedrock then allows the app builder to correct the response by adding safeguards that can map to a specific internal policy or guideline. And this helps block any hallucination from the end user. Next is affordability. We know today that inference costs are still far too high for many of the areas that AI could be helpful. At face value, models present a cost versus performance trade-off, typically based on the size of the model. But we've worked to help customers optimize their costs. In some cases, and through innovation, it's allowed customers to achieve lower costs without compromising on performance. And within Bedrock, there are a number of ways that you can do this. The first is model distillation. Model distillation leverages the outputs of a high parameter model to train a low parameter model. You can think of this like a teacher sharing their knowledge with a student. The smaller model mimics the accuracy and quality of the larger model, but the knowledge is focused on a specific task or use case. And distilled models in Amazon Bedrock are up to 500% faster and can be up to 75% less expensive than the larger models, and typically with less than 2% accuracy loss in use cases like RAG. But what if your application doesn't have a specific use case, or there's a wide range of complexity in the types of responses that your users want to be able to generate? And for cases like this, Bedrock provides intelligent prompt caching. And this is where you can designate multiple models for your application and have Bedrock determine which is the best model to serve each of the incoming requests. And prompt routing can reduce the costs by up to 30% without compromising on accuracy. And finally, utility. AI should make things as simple as possible. And this is where agents come in. In the early days of generative AI, less than 2 years ago, the most common pattern of working with models was for a user to send a prompt and for the model to generate a response. And over time, this has become more conversational. But the growing trend today are AI agents. Agents don't just respond. They act, working through problems like a person would. They plan, select tools, generate results, and then reflect to determine if further iterations are required. And today we see developers using agents across the development lifecycle, from bug tracking to building applications. And agentic AI powers Amazon Q Developer. Let me show you how it works. We'll ask Q to modify a transcription app that we've built, creating an endpoint that calls the Claude Sonnet model in Bedrock to analyze the transcript. As Q works through the request, we see how the agents can rationalize about the problem and autonomously take steps to create new code. We can review what Q built, and then if we're happy, merge it into our application. And Q can also be used to generate tests and documentation. And all of this, from model choice to the agents, is available in Amazon Bedrock today. But to use any of these powerful capabilities, you need to be running in the cloud. Today, there's still many organizations that are held back from building anything they can imagine because they're on-prem and they have legacy code bases. And now, I'd like to invite the NatWest group to stage, who share how they've been combining AWS services together with the power of AI to transform banking. Please welcome Scott Markar.
Good morning. It's a real pleasure to be here. The NatWest Group, with its RBS heritage, was founded back in 1727. Today, we serve over 19 million customers across our retail, our commercial and institutional, and our private banking businesses. We have a wide variety of brands, and through our heritage, almost 300 years now of customer insight. History shows that banks used to be the cornerstone of society, a symbol of stability, a symbol of trust. Back then, A personal appointment was with a bank manager who was esteemed, he was respected, trusted, well-connected. But the world has changed. And in the last 50 years, as technology has evolved, banking has changed dramatically. I think in my lifetime and in my career, I've really seen 5 fundamental technology revolutions. We had the invention of the PC in the 80s and bringing compute to the mass market. We had the rise of the internet in the 90s, the dot-com boom, the dot-com bust. We had the mobile revolution in the 2000s and really changed customer expectations of technology. We had the migration to the cloud in the 2010s, which really brought hyperscale across data and compute to industry. And now we're in the midst of an AI revolution that is changing the world as we know it and absolutely dominating the investor landscape. Through that period and in banking, I've really seen us move from a period of invention. You know, back in the 80s, back in the 90s, banks were really pushing the boundaries of technology. We wrote our own databases, we wrote our own languages, driven to support the derivatives market, the electronic trading market. But that's really changed. I think we're now in an era of applied innovation, whereas other industries who are really doing the invention, industries such as gaming, social media, big tech, cloud. And it's our job in banking to take some of those innovations and apply them to our services so we can generate great solutions for our customers. Today, at NatWest, we really are already a digital bank. Around 1% of our customers bank only on the telephone. Less than 4% of our customers actually bank only in the branches. But 95% of our customers use our digital channels. We have over 10 million customers who are actively using our mobile app. 97% of retail bank accounts are now opened online. And our wealth brand Coutts has an award-winning mobile app where 94% of all payments are made using that app. On top of that, we are the biggest bank in the UK for business and startups, and 79% of interactions are digital first. So what's the future of banking? What's it going to actually look like in 5 years' time? I'm going to make 2 predictions. The first is that I think we're going to see a fundamental shift in the way that customers consume financial services. We're going to see much more of those financial services embedded into lifestyle journeys. Things like buying a house, going on holiday. And I believe that customers are going to define how and when they want to receive those services. We're going to see more agents, for sure. My second prediction is, no matter what we think and whatever vision we have for the next 5 years, it is almost certainly going to be wrong. The world is moving at such pace. And given that, banks, like other industries, need to be adaptable. We need to be agile. And to be agile, we really need to be able to simplify. But no matter what happens in the future, I think there are 2 things that we have to get right. The first is we have to deliver truly amazing experiences for our customers, experiences that delight them. And the second is we have to maintain and earn customer trust. Trust is absolutely key. I'd like to share 3 stories of how our partnership with AWS is helping transform the expectations and the experiences of our customers. I mentioned already our retail banking app, used today by 95% of our customers. But it wasn't always that way. And around 10 years ago, we started to see a real shift in customer trends, customer behavior. We wanted to combine our mobile and our web bank offerings into a single platform and ensure that we could scale dynamically as our customer needs evolved. So we chose, back then, to re-architect using an AWS cloud-native microservice-based solution. We worked with AWS to build a multi-region active-active architecture, giving us a highly resilient, fully elastic, scalable digital platform, mitigating operational risk whilst rapidly achieving delivery cadence and meeting the strictest of regulatory requirements. Ultimately, together, we delivered a highly available, stable service for our customers that we call M-Platform today. We see around 16 million logins and 5 million payments on that platform every day. It's engineered for high performance. It also scales to meet demands with fully automated testing and zero downtime deployments, which really helps us be agile. So what's next on that journey for us? We think more personalization, I'll come back to that, and an even better customer experience. Our second story is about our voice channel. Last year alone, we handled over 20 million calls from customers. And historically, we were able to answer those calls. We could put them through to an agent. We had the data to show how many calls we took, how long they lasted. But we wanted to create a seamless customer experience. We implemented Amazon Connect to help transform that customer experience. 9 contact centers, 9,000 colleagues were migrated. We've leveraged some of the cutting-edge technologies, capabilities such as Contact Lens, which is using AI to understand customer sentiment during the call and provide real-time feedback to our agents so they can adapt and they can really help the customers during their time of need. We're also using capabilities like QuickSight to really analyze that data, understand why are customers still having to call us, what are their needs, what are their intents, and we feed that back into our development process so we can actually update our digital journeys and provide customer experience right in the app. Which brings me to my third story. At NatWest, we believe that all of our customers are unique. We have 19 million of them, each with individual needs, individual experiences, all from very different backgrounds. Our ultimate goal is to give everyone a hyper-personalized experience, an app unique to every individual customer. To achieve that, we have built a comprehensive data and AI capability using SageMaker. We can generate really deep insights into our customers, which we are then going to feed back into our development teams to get those personal experiences direct for them. We're using that same capability in SageMaker in our fight against fraud and financial crime. And you may not know this, but fraud is the #1 crime in the UK. Last year alone, according to UK Finance, which reports for all the banks, there were over £1.2 billion worth of fraud put through the banking system. Using those models that we built out in SageMaker, those AI models, we've been able to protect our customers, and last year prevented losses to them of over £300 million. Now, the industry and we have been using AI for many years, but SageMaker is really building on top of that. Around 20% of our bank's models today are using AI. We've onboarded around 100 use cases onto SageMaker. We've combined our data science and our ML teams together, and we're using capabilities like pipelines and model registry to really take experiments and get them into production safely as quickly as possible. We've also built our strategic GenAI gateway within AWS, giving seamless access to the latest LLMs from Bedrock and others. And we're moving towards an agentic model and looking to trial Amazon Q later this year. So to wrap up, I think the future of banking is really dynamic and really exciting. It's full of possibilities. It's being shaped by technology advances. It's absolutely evolving customer expectation with a growing emphasis on security and sustainability. Traditional ways of banking may fade, but those core principles of trust, of security, they remain. Our partnership with AWS is profound, and one we are deeply committed to developing. And I'm really, really optimistic that together with AWS, we're going to transform those experiences for our customers. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Scott. It's amazing to see what NatWest is doing to reinvent banking. Just incredible. Well, we know that migrating to the cloud can unlock huge value, but it's not always easy. Modernizing decade-old applications and untangling legacy infrastructure can be slow and often a costly process. And this is where we found that AI can be very, very powerful. Over the last 19 years, AWS has helped many, many customers with their migration challenges, from simple workloads to some of the most complex legacy systems. And we've seen just about anything and everything that you can imagine. And we've taken all that data and everything that we've learned, and we've integrated it into Q to make modernization as easy as possible. So let's take a look at 3 migration paths that Q can accelerate for you today. First is modernizing Windows.NET applications from Windows to Linux. And Q automatically discovers any incompatibilities, generates a transformation plan, and can even refactor the source code on your behalf. And using Q has helped developers modernize the applications up to 4 times faster and cut the costs of Windows licensing by up to 40% by moving off Windows. Next is VMware. Q transformation agents can simplify and automate on-premises application discovery. They can plan waves of migrations, and they can orchestrate all the end-to-end for the migration process. And Q tackles one of the hardest problems in moving VMware, and that is automatically converting VMware networking configurations and firewall rules to the AWS native networking constructs. And with Q, this migration can be up to 80 times faster. And finally, Q can assist with migrating complex mainframe applications, starting first with IBM ZOS, or ZOS as you say. Agents work through each step of the process, from the analysis to decomposition, from the planning, the documentation generation, and can even refactor COBOL to Java code, which allows you to transform a complete mainframe in months instead of years. Now, a company that exemplifies the digital transformation in financial markets is LSEG. They're evolving from a traditional exchange into a technology-driven enterprise that also provides data analytics and infrastructure services to the global financial community. LSEG recently named AWS as their preferred cloud provider for the markets, risk intelligence, and FTSE Russell divisions. And to tell us more, I'm pleased to welcome Daniel Maguire to the stage. Welcome, Dan. It's great to have you here today.
Great to be here, Dave. Thank you.
So, Dan, can you share a bit about the LSEG Markets business and how you plan to leverage the building blocks like AWS Outposts?
Of course I can. My pleasure. Maybe I'll start with what is LSEG Markets briefly. We run globally important, systemically important market infrastructure. So we're really the backbone of the financial markets across many things. So to bring that into reality, that's, I think, trading, risk management, capital management, those kind of things. So exchanges, trading platforms, surveillance platforms, and reporting. That's kind of what we mean by markets. And with that is all underpinned by operational resiliency. We've got to be available every second, every nanosecond, every microsecond, every day, every week, every year. So operational resilience really is the backbone of what we do, and that's the foundation for which we can then build new products and new services as the market evolves. So when we think about AWS Outposts, how can that help us? How are we going to leverage that? It's going to really enable us to deliver new products and services quicker, but also take advantage of a lot of the low latency capabilities. So if you think about FX trading, where speed is absolutely key and latency is really key, really important for our customers, especially sort of hedge funds and algos and buy side, we'll be able to leverage the kind of capabilities in that. So we think of it as, with the Outposts, it's getting all the benefits of the cloud from scalability and agility and the ability to innovate and speed, but all underpinned by that sort of resiliency and that regulatory compliance and that sort of security as well.
Excellent. And how's LSEG Risk Intelligence using Amazon Bedrock to provide faster and more accurate risk assessment?
Again, let me talk just briefly, what is LSEG Risk Intelligence? It's a business that helps regulated businesses around the globe to conduct due diligence, things around sort of KYC, know your customer, anti-money laundering, and those kind of things. So it's a very established business, thousands of customers around the globe, banks, marketplaces, payments providers, and those kind of things. So that's kind of what it's doing, and it's really helping people sort of deal with their mission-critical compliance use cases. So again, that's more of an established partnership. Markets is moving towards cloud. This has been an established business for quite a number of years, and we've worked very closely with AWS to really make success out of our flagship product, WellCheck. So that's something over a number of years that we've done. So as we think about going forward now, we're going to be continuing on that journey, building new KYC, new AML products and the like, but also this is going to enable us to focus on other areas as well. So for example, really improving our data curation, and the breadth of data and the accuracy and the precision of the data we have. And then on our existing services, we're looking at a lot of automation where we've got a lot of push towards self-service kind of capabilities, and also really just to have scale across everything we do as well. So we're super excited about the partnership and renewing in some areas and extending in others as well.
Fantastic.
So yeah, really good.
Well, Dan, it's super exciting. Thanks again for joining us today. And I've thoroughly enjoyed working with you and the team. And hopefully we'll continue to innovate together for years to come.
Look forward to it.
Thanks
a lot, Dave.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Well, as you can see, with the right building blocks, you can build anything you can imagine. And that's exactly why we're here today. What I love most about my job is the opportunity to build tools and platforms that can empower innovators, people like all of you, to push the boundaries of what's possible. In every conversation I have with customers, it's a chance to dive deep into the technology, to share ideas, to geek out, and to collaborate in ways that drive real change, no matter what the industry may be. At the heart of it all, we're not just creating technology. We're enabling progress. We're empowering the world around us with what we build. So as you continue on your journey through the summit today, I encourage you to connect, explore, and discover the services, tools, and brilliant minds that can help you turn your ideas into reality. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the summit.